Hello everybody and welcome to part 12 of What If Izuku Midoriya Found the Omnitrix. If you're new to the series and want to catch up, or if you have missed any of the previous parts, I'll be linked in the description below to a playlist where you can see them. Where we last left off in the middle of the forest training camp arc. The villains have gathered and are preparing to attack, while on the student side 12 minutes have passed since the test of courage began, and the fifth group, Uraka and Tsuyu, leave for their turn. In the forest, a poisonous smoke seems to form, knocking out a member of Class B, while in another area of the forest, smoke seems to come out of the trees, revealing a forest fire. The villains show up and Mage goes in to attack Pixie Bob. Before she can land, Midoriya acts reflexively and turns into Diamondhead, creating a barrier in the way. Pixie Bob recovers from being pushed back with the rest of the students. Like she goes back, she huddles up with the rest of the students, and Spinner steps out of the shadows saying, "How are you this evening, UA High School? We are part of the VanGuard Action Squad of the League of Villains." Ojiro says, "The League? What are they doing here?" Mage says, "Impressive moves, boy, but I doubt they will help you any further. I'll kill you regardless of your ability." Spiller jumps in the way, saying, Now, we must be careful with who we kill. We need to abide by Stain's principles here." The Pussycats tell the students to leave it up to them and go to the main building where it's safe. That she briefed everyone on the situation with her telepathic powers. The students go to leave, but while they do, Midoriya tells Mandalay that he knows where Kota is, and Mandalay tells him to please go get him to safety. Midoriya says, "Leave it to me." He turns into Accelerate and rushes to the clearing in the mountain. He arrives as a hooded figure walks towards Kota as Kota slowly stumbles back. Muscular says, "I came here for a nice vantage point, and here I find someone who is not on our list." Midoriya arrives, switching from Accelerate right to Rath and punching Muscular in the face, breaking his mask. Midoriya says, "Step away from the kid, you vile villain, or Rath is going to kick the crap out of you." Muscular looks at Midoriya, spotting the Omnitrix, and says, "Oh, you are the kid, the one who can transform. You are a high priority target. Lucky for me, you don't need to be alive, so I can have some fun." And Midoriya says, "Let me tell you something, you muscular guy. Rath is gonna beat the crap out of you." Muscular activates his muscle form and kind of goes into punch Midoriya. Midoriya switches to Big Chill so it can go through him, freezing Muscular's arm. And Midoriya jumps into the air, freezing Muscular all around. He then turns to Kota, flying down and turning back into himself. He asks Kota, "Are you okay? Did he hurt you if I got here?" Kota nods. No, but as Muscular breaks the ice, Kota looks in horror as Muscular walks towards Midoriya, saying, refreshing. You didn't think that will take me out of the fight. That puny attack would keep me down for long, did you, kid?" Muscular is the one that says this. Muscular goes in for another punch. Midoriya turns into forearms and catches it, putting as much force as he can. Muscular attacks with his other arm, but Midoriya catches it as well. Muscular says, "Looks like we are tied." Midoriya says, "Not really," and punches Muscular with the two other arms, throwing him back a bit. Muscular says, "Seems like you are stronger than you look, huh? I guess I should stop holding back," as he drops his hood. Muscular gets serious as his muscle mass increases. Midoriya says, "If you're going to get serious, then I guess it's time for me to do the same thing." Back at the clearing in the forest, the Wild Pussycats, minus Ragdoll, have taken care of the members of the League of Villains, since in this version there are 3 against 2, and they have the mud manipulation. When Midoriya comes out of the woods, Mandalay sees him and asks, "Oh, Midoriya, is Kota okay? You should get to safety." Midoriya smiles and punches the Omnitrix, turning into Chromastone, and shoots Mandalay and all the others, knocking them back. Albedo switches to Humangosaur, plumbing on Tiger, who got back up and says, Mandalay asks, "Midoriya, why?" as she passes out. Albedo turns to her and says, "Who said I was Midoriya?" Back in the mountains, Muscular asks, "What do you mean? You're going to get serious?" Midoriya switches to Humangosaur. Muscular goes in for an attack. Midoriya catches the fist, pushes Muscular forward as he kind of crushes the fist. "Is that all you got?" Like, Muscular crushes his fist. "Is that all you got, kid?" Midoriya just grows in size and lifts Muscular up by the arm and pummels him into the ground. He then does the same motion 3 times to make sure that Muscular is down for the count. He switches into Diamondhead and restrains Muscular. Midoriya turns back into himself and gets Kota asking, "Are you okay?" Kota says, "I'm fine. What about you?" Midoriya says, "Just a bit tired. That took a lot out of me." Midoriya grabs the plumber badge from his pocket and activates a distress beacon saying, "Hello? This is Izuku Midoriya. I was given this transmitter thing by Ben Tennyson in case of emergency. I think this qualifies." On the other line, Ben grabs to answer and says, "We read you and copy. We'll be sending in reinforcements as soon as possible. What's the nature of the threat?" Midoriya looks at the forest, seeing a lot of both fire, some robots flying around, some big robots like walking around, a huge gas cloud, and says, "There is a League of Villains attack at UA camp, training camp." Ben on the other line says to his grandfather, "Wait, if they're just villains, we can just tell the pros. They'll take care of it." Max says, "No, the League of Villains is affiliated with Vilgax and has access to level 4+ tech, something they shouldn't have on this planet. We're going in ourselves." Ben then says to Midoriya, "Copy. We're on our way. Midoriya, stay safe." Midoriya turns into Fasttrack and grabs Kota. Kota asks, "What are you doing?" Midoriya answers, "Taking you back to camp." Midoriya zooms over and seeing Aizawa, he stops. Aizawa sees Midoriya and goes in for an attack. Midoriya dodges and says, "Hey, what's that deal, Mr. Aizawa?" As he puts Kota down. Aizawa goes into a battle stance, saying, "You attacked Mandalay." Midoriya says, "Wait, no I didn't. I was too busy protecting Kota from some big muscle villain." Kota from behind says, "It's true." Aizawa stands down and says, "In that case, we have an imposter on our hands. Mandalay told us that you have gone rogue before passing out and started attacking them. We could be dealing with a shapeshifter impersonating you." Midoriya says, "Mr. Aizawa, I'm going to take care of this. Please take Kota back to camp." Aizawa does, but asks Midoriya one thing in return. "Okay, but when you run into Mandalay, tell her to tell the students they are allowed to use their quirks. And the situation is too dangerous for them not to." Midoriya says, "Okay," and runs off to get help. On the way, he is attacked by a huge shadow. Midoriya is thrown back as he's caught by Shoji, who explains the situation. In a rush, Midoriya turns into Heatblast, creating a huge fire in order to calm Dark Shadow down. Once he's taken care of, Midoriya resumes his mission, turning into Accelerate to run to the clearing. He arrives seeing the 3 pros unconscious and trapped by webs. Midoriya turns back into himself and walks towards them, wanting to free them from the webs. Albedo steps out of the shadows and asks, "Are you Izuku Midoriya?" He sees the Omnitrix and says, "Never mind, I have my answer." Midoriya says, "You're the imposter, aren't you? What are you exactly?" Albedo says, "You are a most difficult creature to find, but I have need of you, so..." "I am an Albedo of the Galvan." Midoriya says, "You don't look like a Galvan." Albedo says, "I am the builder of the Omnitrix. I must retrieve it at once." Midoriya asks, "What?" Albedo says, "I need it back, so please, place it into my custody. Your days as a hero are at an end." Midoriya looks at Albedo, spotting his own Omnitrix. Albedo gets impatient and reiterates, "Take your Omnitrix and return it." Midoriya says, "Wait, Albedo, I thought this was the only Omnitrix in the universe. And anyway, I thought someone named Azimuth created the Omnitrix." Albedo says, "Azimuth is the liar." Midoriya says, "But I need the Omnitrix to help people." Albedo says, "It is incomplete and prone to catastrophic malfunction." Midoriya says, "I haven't seen it malfunction." Albedo says, "You have a great luck then. or by now you would have ripped a hole in the fabric of the universe. Midoriya asks, why aren't you in your regular form? It's uncomfortable talking to myself. Albedo says, if only I could. I'm stuck in the sticky, sweaty, noisy, hungry, hairy, smelly, disgusting teenage human body. You see, your DNA is encoded as the default in your Omnitrix. Mine, upon activation, synchronized with yours through space-time. So your body has become my default as well. Midoriya asks, confused, wait, do you need my Omnitrix to return to your normal self or to save the universe? Albedo gets a bit nervous and says, I need it for both. Midoriya, suspecting something is off, says, I haven't had any luck with taking off the Omnitrix. Since you built it, tell me how it comes off. Albedo says, sure, I trust you're versed in the practical application of 8-dimensional quantum gravity maniple equations. Midoriya says, I better call the plumbers to confirm. Midoriya grabs the badge out of his wallet that's sending a distress beacon at the moment. Omnitrix gets nervous, turning to Spidermonkey and takes the badge, throwing it back. He then webs Midoriya up, saying, I wish we could have done this the easy way. Midoriya turns into Heatblast and burns the webs, freeing himself. He then shoots fire at Albedo. Albedo switches to Big Chill, freezing the fire before it can reach him. Midoriya turns into Wildvine and uses the plants around to restrain Albedo, but before he can, Albedo switches to Goop, burning the plants with his acid. Albedo then turns into Brainstorm, shooting electricity at Midoriya. Midoriya switches to feedback, taking it in and shooting it back. Albedo to Chromastone, he absorbs it and turns into Humangosaur, growing to attack Midoriya, punching him down. It appears as if Albedo won, but Midoriya turned into Nanomech to evade the attack. He flies up just above him and turns into Humangosaur, falling on top of Albedo. They start brawling. Their fight is visible from pretty much the whole camp since they're so big. It seems as though Midoriya is winning, so Albedo turns into Echo. He surrounds Midoriya with clones and attacks him with a wall of sound. Midoriya turns into Echo himself and creates a counter frequency to block the sound, like Hero did in the final exam against President Mike. Albedo realizes he can't win this way either and turns into Jetray and starts shooting lasers at Midoriya. Midoriya switches into Ghost Freak, the attack going right through him. He then switches to Stinkfly, flying up in the sky to try to slow Albedo down with his group. Albedo turns into Big Chill and freezes Midoriya. Midoriya lands on the ice, in the block of ice, and Albedo thinks he won, but Midoriya turns into Heatblast, freeing himself again. Albedo turns into Swampfire, but when he does, both Omnitrixes time out. Albedo goes in for a punch. Midoriya manages to evade the punch, but both Omnitrixes lock in together, blocking both of them in place. Some bioenergy feedback is created by the proximity, creating an energy surge. The energy surge seems to have done something to Albedo's hair, eye, and skin color. They seem to have changed. He still looks like Midoriya, but his hair is white and his eye is red. He is much more pale and his clothes resemble Midoriya's hero costume, but in red. Albedo wrestles Midoriya to the ground and says, "You have damaged this form, you will pay," and trying to choke Midoriya. Midoriya manages to get the upper hand and says, "Tell me how to get the Omnitrixes apart." Albedo says, "Perhaps if one of us managed to die," and that's not the correct plural of Omnitrix. Midoriya says, "That's not an option then. Any other suggestions to free ourselves?" Both of them keep struggling, eventually managing to free themselves. Something then teleports into the area. Albedo, as the teleportation happens, says, "He's here." Midoriya asks, "Who's here?" And Albedo answers, "Azimuth." Azimuth then appears and says, "You bet he is." Azimuth looks around, seeing Midoriya, and vows, saying, "I am Azimuth of the Galvan, the true genius behind the Omnitrix." Midoriya bows himself, saying, "It's an honor to meet you, sir." Azimuth says, "Yeah, spare yourself. You have both overloaded the Omnitrix's core so badly that you have short-circuited it. Those non-stop transformations from true Omnitrixes are going to break it. Even one Omnitrix isn't made to transform as much as you do." Midoriya bows and says, "I'm sorry, sir, I was just trying to..." He is interrupted by Azimuth, who says, "Save it, I know." Azimuth turns to Albedo and says, "Albedo, my former assistant, he built an inferior copy. I warned you, Albedo, that there could only be one Omnitrix. You ignored me, ignored my warnings." Albedo says, "I will not trust the universe's fate to an unworthy human, much less a teenager. If my Omnitrix cannot function, I will take his." Azimuth says, "I told you many times, the Omnitrix is beyond you. You could have doomed us all." Midoriya asks, "So the universe really was at stake?" Azimuth answers, "If you had lost the Omnitrix, then yes. Albedo only wanted to recuperate his original form. Albedo thought through your arrogant act of rebellion, you have proven yourself a lesser being." Azimuth jumps on Albedo's arm and grabs his fake Omnitrix, jumping off of it immediately after. Albedo says, "No, you can't do this!" Azimuth says, "As punishment, you shall remain as you are in a prison of your own making." Albedo falls to his knees saying, "No, you can't!" Azimuth just says, "I have," and Albedo is teleported away to a prison while shouting, "I hate you!" Azimuth then turns to Midoriya and says, "He won't bother you again." Midoriya says, "Thank you very much, sir. If you have the time, I have so many questions about this device." Azimuth holds his hand and says, "Questions that will get their answer eventually, but for now, give me the Omnitrix." I hope you all enjoyed the episode. If you did, please make sure to leave a like if you enjoyed the video, and have any suggestions, leave them in the comments. And until next time, have a nice day, everyone. Bye!